Back in the channel's early days, we did a video on the biggest one-year wonders of the Super Bowl era. Teams that were bad one season, then had a great season, before going right back to being bad. We're going to be doing the opposite today. 2 good seasons with a clunker in the middle, as we count down the Super Bowl era's 10 biggest reverse one-year wonders. And we will be doing that, as we always do, by using C-Score. This channel's metric for assigning objective value to NFL teams beyond simply looking at their records. For a deeper explanation of C-Score, be sure to check out the description of this video. In order to qualify for this list, a team must have a winning record and a positive C-score in year 1, a losing record and a negative C-score in year 2, then return to a winning record and positive C-score for year 3. That leaves a couple of teams out, including an old favorite of ours, the 2012 Indianapolis Colts, more specifically the 2010 to 2012 Colts. They fit the bill across the board, except for that negative C-score in year 3. Their 36-point downturn coupled with their 20-point upturn for a total variance of 56 points would have otherwise qualified them for this list. We're also not including the 2013 to 2015 Carolina Panthers, because while they do hit every benchmark, they were a playoff team in 2014 despite that losing record. So this one is a bit more of a judgment call. While these 2 would-be entries did not make the list, it did feel right to acknowledge them. As for who made the list, let's get to that now. Thank you for joining us today, and away we go. Even though he was only there for 4 seasons, our number 10 entry sits entirely within Bill Parcells' tenure with the New England Patriots. We're looking at the years from 1994 to 1996. These would be years 2 through 4 of the Parcells era. Positive C-scores of 7.989 and 17.428 sandwich a negative 13.732. The drop-off from year 1 to year 2 was nearly 22 points, while the gain from year 2 to year 3 was just over 31 points. Altogether, that gives the Patriots a variance score of 52.881. 1994 was a breakout year for New England, going 10-6 and earning a wildcard spot, making the playoffs for the first time since 1986. 1996 was even better, as they won the AFC East and made it to the Super Bowl. Had they faced anyone other than the powerhouse Green Bay Packers, this could have been the franchise's first Super Bowl title. 1995 wasn't their year though. The AFC East didn't have any great teams, but they still got 3 good enough teams into the playoffs. A 1-5 start to the season was too much to overcome, and a 1-7 record outside the division left them at 6-10 and on the outside looking in. It's only one franchise, but it covers 2 cities. Our number 9 entry is the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders from 1980 to 1982. 1980 brought them a C-score of 16.712, and they do slightly better in 1982, their first in Los Angeles, at 17.648. They avoided negative double digits in between in 1981, but not by much, with a negative 9.56. After 1980, they dropped by worse than 26 points, but they bounced back in 82 to the tune of over 27 points. Their variance lands at 53.48. That 1980 C-score may not be gargantuan, but the Raiders achieved the highest success possible, advancing to and winning Super Bowl 15, becoming the first official wildcard team to ever do so. In their first season in LA during 1982, they went 8-1 in the strike-shortened season. However, they did lose in the divisional round of the makeshift playoffs to the New York Jets. Their final season in Oakland, at least for the time being, saw a change in their fortunes to the tune of a 7-9 season that probably should have been much worse, suffering 3 consecutive shutouts and seeing their turnover differential shift by 24 in the wrong direction. We'll stay in the same general area of both time and space for our number 8 entry. the San Francisco 49ers from 1981 to 1983. Their C-scores from years 1 and 3 are within a single point of each other, 20.379 in 81 and 19.753 in 83. Unlike the Raiders before them, San Fran didn't exactly shine in 1982, registering a negative 6.942. Their drop of more than 27 points was almost reversed entirely with a gain of just under 27, bringing their variance to 54.016. The Bay Area went back-to-back in Super Bowls 15 and 16, with the 49ers following up Oakland's win in the big game with one of their own against the Cincinnati Bengals. Returning to the top of the NFC West in 1983 brought the Niners into the NFC Championship game, losing a hard-fought battle to the Washington Redskins, who at the time were the highest-scoring team in NFL history. The Niners just couldn't get off the ground in 82 though. They couldn't run the ball, their defense dropped off, and they couldn't win a single home game in 5 tries. Their 3-6 record could have been improved with many of their canceled games being winnable, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We get a look at our first team from the 21st century at number 7 with the Houston Texans from 2012 to 2014. They nailed down positive C-scores twice here, but not overwhelmingly, with a 9.836 in 2012 and a 4.36 in 2014. It's what happened to them in the middle that gets them here, plopping down a miserable 20.629 in between for the 2013 season. That means they lost more than 30 points after year 1, but got back almost 25 the next year, leaving their variance at 55.454. 2012 was a banner season for the Texans, winning the AFC South with a 12-4 record, still the most wins in a single season in franchise history. They did go out in the divisional round of the playoffs though, which they couldn't do in 2014 because at 9-7, they were out of the playoffs altogether in what was a tough AFC. They started 2-0 in 2013, and that was it, losing 14 straight games to end the season with a thud that almost made the 2001 Carolina Panthers jealous. Houston served up pick sixes like they were pizza coupons, and their defense rolled out the red carpet and was generally atrocious, outside of the great J.J. Watt, of course. We will stay in the 21st century for our number 6 entry, the New York Jets from 2004 to 2006. They were very good in a very strong division in 04, landing a C-score of 15.216. 2006 wasn't as strong, but solid nonetheless with a 5.254. They're not exactly tolling the celebratory bells for 2005 though, with a grisly negative 17.827. That resulted in a drop-off of over 33 points from the season before. They got a good chunk of that back though with a boost of 23 points the next year, so their variance lands at 56.124. Because of that powerful division and excellent strength of schedule, the 04 Jets were no ordinary 10-6 team, winning a playoff game and nearly knocking off the 15-1 Steelers. The 06 team put up the same 10-6 record, but without the other bells and whistles, before taking it on the chin with a 21-point loss in the wildcard round. Their offense saw a downturn in 05, but the defense may have let them down even more, going from 4th best in the league in points allowed all the way down to 23rd. A 7-game losing streak right smack in the middle of the season, and a winless road record all adds up to a 4-12 finish and lots of bellyaching from Jets fans, who of course are well versed at the practice. Now we gotta go back in time, partially to the pre-merger era, with the St. Louis Cardinals of 1968 to 1970 at number 5. They grabbed a 5.69 C-score in 1968, and in the first season after the merger, they more than tripled that with a 17.793. That last season before the merger though? Yeah, that would be a negative 17.396. Because of that lower score from 68, they only dropped by 23 points into 69, but they came back with a 35-point improvement, giving them a variance of 58.275. In 1968, only division champions made it to the playoffs, and at 9-4-1, the Cardinals finished half a game behind the Cleveland Browns in the NFL Century Division. The league split into two conferences with 3 divisions each and introduced the wildcard spot in 1970. But St. Louis had no luck there either at 8-5-1, leaving them without a playoff appearance to its credit during this time period. That was no such concern in the final season before the merger though, with the Cards slumping to 4-9-1. This team had 2 future Hall of Famers in the secondary. Yet they allowed 38 touchdown passes, the most ever in a 14-game season under the NFL banner. We're still in the olden days for our number 4 entry, but we are entirely within the post-merger era with the New York Giants from 1970 to 1972. They showed some promise in 1970 with a C-score of 5.779 and delivered on that promise 2 seasons later with a 13.744. That middle season was a problem though, where they registered a dreadful negative 21.5. We're in the 60s now with that fall of over 27 and that rise of over 35, giving the Giants a total variance of 62.523. The New York Giants finished behind the Dallas Cowboys in the division standings in every season between 1964 and 1983. That means they were unable to ever win a division title, and their 9-5 record in 1970 and their 8-6 record in 1972 were not good enough to earn the conference's sole wildcard spot. Like the St. Louis Cardinals before them, that was no concern whatsoever in 1971, where a 2-9 end to the season rooted them not only to the bottom of the NFC East, but to the bottom of the NFC as a whole. Given that terrible C-score, one might say that even at 4-12, they overachieved. Cowboys fans absolutely love the Jason Garrett head coaching era, right? Okay, maybe not, but that era does provide us our number 3 entry, specifically between 2014 and 2016. They managed C-scores in the teens for both of their positive seasons, 13.736 in 14 and 17.713 in 16. Unfortunately for them, they were in the teens during their negative season as well, with a minus 17.854 in 2015. Dallas provides a rare double swing of 30 plus points. First down 31.5, then up 35.5, for a total variance of 67.157. After 5 seasons without a winning record, the Cowboys posted a 12-4 mark in 2014 and advanced to the divisional round of the playoffs, where they lost to the Green Bay Packers in what many refer to as the Dez Bryant game. They went 13-3 in 2016 and earned the NFC's number 1 seed, where they once again lost to the Packers in the divisional round. A 2-0 start in 2015 gave way to a 4-12 finish, due in large part to injuries. But because they're the Cowboys, they still had more Pro Bowlers than they did wins, and just as many All-Pros, although they were all on the second team. To date, though, this is the last time that Dallas has finished last in its division. They had a quick run at the top of the NFL, providing ample opportunity for placement on this list, and lo and behold, here they are. At number 2 are the St. Louis Rams from 2001 to 2003. Their 0-1 C-score of 38.424 is the highest single-season score on this list, and they weren't too shabby in 2003 either, with a 15.357. 2002, however, wasn't their finest hour, with a negative 8.363. That gave them a drop of almost 47 points, also the highest on this list. With their rebound of over 23 points, their variance cracks the 70-point mark at 70.507. The 2001 St. Louis Rams are fairly well documented, in the Super Bowl and on their way to a potential dynasty, only to suffer an upset on account of a last-second field goal. In 2003, after a 1-2 start, they screamed to a 12-4 record and earned a bye in the NFC playoffs, where they were again victimized on the game's final play, in double overtime no less. Unlike many of the other teams we've documented today, the 2002 Rams got off to a poor start, opening the season at 0-5. They were able to even up at 5-5 before finishing up at 7-9. The greatest show on turf moved from Broadway to the Bowery, and after 2003, never again had a winning season while in St. Louis. This list was essentially made for them. The only other crossover appearance from our one-year wonder videos after our earlier 49er entry takes the top spot as our biggest reverse one-year wonder, the Baltimore Ravens of 2006 to 2008. 2006 was a big turnaround from a disastrous 2005, marked by a C-score of 24.022. They are the only team in this top 10 to land two different C-scores in the 20s, marked by their 24.901 in 2008. But in order for 2006 to be a one-year wonder season, 2007 had to be bad, and it was, with their C-score crashing at negative 17.205. We saw the Rams in our previous entry land a swing of more than 40 points. Well, the Ravens did so twice, with their minus 41 and their plus 42, giving them a massive variance of 83.333. The Ravens had high hopes entering the 2006 playoffs after a 13-3 regular season, and they were a trendy pick to make the Super Bowl. But they lost in Baltimore to the Colts, formerly of Baltimore, while neither scoring nor allowing any touchdowns. Hopes weren't as high with the Ravens as a 6th seed in 2008, but they did make a run to the AFC Championship game, only to lose to their dreaded rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. In between, they were 5-11, and like so many others, they started well enough at 4-2. Then they endured a 9-game losing streak before salvaging Week 17. But in the 17 seasons since, they finished under 500 just twice, while racking up 13 playoff appearances and 1 Super Bowl title. The top 10 as a whole shows us a somewhat bunched up group between numbers 10 and 5. With the largest jump between any two rankings at just over 2 points from 5 to 4. Every gap thereafter was larger than that, with by far the largest coming between the Rams at number 2 and the Ravens at number 1 at nearly 13 points of separation. Unlike our recent list of the NFL's steadiest teams, we have 6 appearances here from the free agency and salary cap era, not counting the 2 teams that were technically ineligible. No franchise appears more than once with every decade of the Super Bowl era represented, except for our current one, which we are now halfway through. Thank you so much for making it as far as you have. YouTube would love it if you like and share this video, and I must say, so would I. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so, and to ding the bell to be notified every time we release something new. Let me know what you think about all of this. Anybody you were surprised to see? Anybody you expected to see but didn't? How about teams that can make this list next season? We have 4 prime candidates, as the Jaguars took more than a 20-point dip in 2024, alongside the Browns, 49ers, and Cowboys, who each dropped by more than 30 points. Sound off on these topics or anything else you may have on your mind down in the comments section below. Thank you once again for joining us today, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.